Hello, welcome to my first Flosstube video. My name is Giselle. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm very excited to be here today. I'm going to share with you everything that I worked on in January and the first week of February. Today is the 7th, and I haven't stitched anything yet, so this will be till the 6th. And then I'll do updates going forward. I like to keep a lot of stats of what I'm stitching, so I'm going to give you updates with how much I've done, how much time I've spent on it, etc. And I didn't pull it for this video, but in the future I can also let you know how many days I've spent on it if that's interesting as well. But yeah, I'm just gonna jump into it because I don't want to be too long-winded. I can ramble quite a bit. So the very first project that I worked on is The Devil, and this is by Thread Geeks Cross Stitch, and the author is A. Cienth. I don't know how to say that, but this is what it looks like. It is from Lord of the Rings. It is a really freaking awesome Nazgul, and I love it. And this is how much I have currently done on it. I've started up here in the top corner, and then I kind of just choose symbols and then fill it in. And yeah, that's how I'm going. I am currently how far am I through? Oh no, I'm currently 6.56% of the way through this, and I've done 510 stitches in the last month, and I've spent like 1 hour on it. To be exact, I have I have something that tells me exactly how much I've spent on everything. So I'm going through these, and the ones that I've worked on the least to the ones that I've worked on the most. I've spent an absurd amount of time cross stitching this year so far. I don't know. I've been cross stitching for 2 years, but I almost took a whole year off right after I started, due to some like medical stuff with my hands. But now the last year I've just been in gung ho, and this year especially so far has been a lot. So this year so far I've already spent 113 hours cross stitching, and for the Devil, I've spent 1 hour and 27 minutes cross stitching, and I spent 1.29% of my time that I've cross stitched this month was on this piece. So there it is again. I'm really enjoying stitching on this, but I can only stitch on it for maybe up to like 1,000 stitches, and then I get really bored of like all the tans. So I am excited to get into like some of the red bits near the bottom, which will not be for a long time, but that will be glorious when it happens. Okay, so the next piece that I worked on this month, I'm just going to say month, but we know it's a little bit of this month as well. The Mandalorian. This is one of my oldest pieces, and this is from Altian Embroidery. I'll leave links to everything below if the shop still exists. Some of them don't, if they're like Etsy patterns, but I believe this one's still on there. And I spent 700 and oh, I didn't even tell you my stats on this one. So this is on 28 Count Monaco that I bought from Michael's, and it's just like in the tubes, and it's 2/1 half cross. And then for this one, it's also 2/1 half cross. This is like a gold instead of like an opal fabric. It's a gold fabric. I bought it from 123 Stitch. It's on 25 count, and it's called White Gold Lugana. I did 738 stitches on this, and it is, I should have showed you what this looks like. I have a lot of components going on around me, and I'm feeling a little overwhelmed by it. But I stitched on this for 3 hours and 7 minutes, which is 2.77% of my time that I spent cross stitching this month, and it is just a really cute Mandalorian with little Grogu in his little pod. I don't know what that is called. And I am 49% of the way through this, so there's still quite a bit to go. But I do really enjoy this. I'm not a huge parker. I pretty much only park when I get to a point where I don't feel like counting, so then I just start a different thread so I don't have to count. And so that's what these are, but typically I don't park a lot. I know it seems like I do, but most of these are just ends that are waiting to be cut off. There's my words. And then a few of these are longer because I just didn't feel like counting out that far. So not a huge perker, although I do it occasionally. Okay, so my next piece is Pokemon Rainbow. This one is very cool. So I'll show you the mock-up first so you can know what's going on. This is one of my newest starts. I started this one this year. Oh, and it's really blowing out. Let me turn down my brightness, see if that helps out. There we go. So it's all the Pokemon from Gen 1 in a Pokeball formation, and I started up here right in the middle. Although this has kind of taken a screeching halt because I need to rechart just this tiny little bit of the chart. I don't like how Moltres' wing is cutting off Seeking's eye. Moltres is this big bird down here. Their wing is coming up and covering Seeking's eye. Seeking is this big fish. So I want to rechart Seeking's face so that it's not being cut off anymore. So it's come to a shrieking halt, but this is where it is. A screeching halt, I think is what I meant to say. But here's Seeking. This is Jinx, which is technically the very center Pokemon in here, but I did not want to be looking at Jinx's face. Because Jinx is like one of the worst Pokemon in Gen 1, so I don't want to be looking at their face the whole time, so instead I moved over to Seeking, and then this is Parasec's face down here. It's been very fun to stitch. This is on 32 count, and it is 1/1, and I'm really liking it. I think the coverage is actually quite good. This is my first project stitching on 32 count 1/1 half stitch. And so far I have spent 3 hours and 45 minutes, and that was 3.32% of my stitching time. And that leaves me at, how far am I through? I'm 0.63% of the way through, so it's quite a large chart, but I need to figure out Seeking's face, and then I can dive back into it because I was really enjoying it and enjoying all the colors and everything with it. Okay, so my next chart is called Vertenacia. Oh, and again, I'll leave link to the Pokemon chart. I found it on Etsy. Okay, so this next one is incredible. It is another one of my new starts for the year. I've had 3 so far. Vertenacia? I've never said that out loud before. Vertenacia Fae. And it's from Unconventional X Stitch. And oh, let me show you what it actually looks like. It is incredible. I love this piece. And it's an artist that I really like, Hope Christopherson. I didn't put it on here for some reason, but I believe that is the name of the artist. Let me pull that up and see if it says it on the PDF. Yeah, Hope Christopherson is the artist. Unconventional X Stitch. I really love this artist. All their pieces on there I want to buy. They have some just absolutely gorgeous ones. And I was looking for a fabric for this piece back in October when I went to Stitch New England, the retreat. And I found this one, and it was 40 count. And since this is quite a big piece, it's like, I don't know, 450 by 450. But there's no background. I wanted to find a really cool piece of fabric, so I found this one. I've just stitched a tiny bit up at the top, and I've been gridding with the sulky sliver like non-pierceable, whatever. And this one I am parking a lot because I do not like stitching without gridded fabric, and I know this is gridded because I've gridded it, but I don't really trust my gridding since it's with like thread. Anyway, this fabric is this. Laura's Fabrics Swamp Monster Linen, and it's 40 count, so this is 1/1 10 stitch and 40 count. I'm having a lot of fun stitching this, even though I was struggling at first. I didn't grit it right away, and I was like, I can do this without gritting it. I could not do it without gritting it. But there's just the very tip of the wing, and I think it's looking phenomenal, and I'm so excited to spend more time on this. And this fabric is stunning. It's very wrinkly. I'm sorry about that, but I'm excited to stitch more on it. And so far this year, I have spent 3 hours and 46 minutes on it, which is 3.34% of my stitching time. Okay, next. So this is a pattern that, let me pull up the book that it's from. I don't have a mock-up, unfortunately, because I borrowed this book from the library. It is Creepy Cross Stitch. Sorry for all the stuff. Creepy Cross Stitch. Horrible glare. It's by Lindsay Swearingen, and it's the creator of Tuscan Cardinal. Love Tuscan Cardinal. Think they're a fantastic designer. It's 25 spooky projects to haunt your halls. Really recommend this book. Borrowed it from the library. This is my oldest cross stitch project. I've been stitching on it for like a bit over a year, although I stopped stitching on it for a very long time. And this year I've made like a dedicated effort to pick it back up, and I really want to finish it this month. So you can't really see what it is. Oh, that's not working because, how's that? Okay. You can just imagine this like paralleled over here. So there's the rest of the cat face, and then there's another ghost. So I'm just working on filling in the ghost right here. Oh my gosh. And Google is talking to me. So I'm just working on the rest of the ghost. I need to fill that in, and then I just need to put in a little basket. Oh, and I didn't tell you, for the Fae, I did 564 stitches this year. It's 1% done. And then for this one this year, I've done 829 stitches, and I'm not sure of my percentage. This is a paper chart, but I was probably about 2/3 of the way through it, and then I had to return the book to the library, so I just transcribed the rest of it onto like a pattern software, just for my personal use to be able to finish marking it off. So I just have like this section in Pattern Keeper that I've been marking off. So I finished off all of this. Top part of the ghost, need to do this. I need to do their little basket, and then tucked in this side is the second ghost and their little basket. And this project feels like it will never end. I know that I, thankfully, because of my like pattern keeping software, I know that I only have 548 stitches left. I know that it will end soon if I keep stitching on it a little bit. But it has just been painful for some reason. I don't know. I've just really struggled to work on it this year, even though when I was stitching on it initially, I loved it so much. So I don't know what my block has been, but it's been my oldest project, and I really just want to finish it. I usually don't like making myself work on something that I'm not in the mood for, but since this one is so close to being done, and it's my oldest project, I'm kind of just forcing through. And I don't think I've already said for this one. So the pattern is called Vintage Halloween. I've spent 4 hours and 48 minutes on it this year, and that was 4.25% of my stitching time. Okay, so next we have Soul of a Rose. So this is from an artist called John William Waterhouse, who is one of my favorite artists. I love him. And I made this into a cross stitch pattern. I don't have this exact one up on my Etsy, but you can buy like the full piece. And I can put this one up on there if you want me to. If you're interested in buying it, I can. I was just waiting till I had it stitched up, and then I could put a stitched mock-up in my shop. But this is what it's gonna look like. Stunning piece. I love it. And so far this year, I have stitched on it for 5 hours and 10 minutes. This is my newest start. I just started it on the 31st, so like 6-7 days ago. And I I'm 4.95% of the way through. I should have pushed through and gotten to the 5%, but it was really late and I didn't want to stay awake any longer. And the incredible thing about working on such a small project, well, this seems extra small because it's on 40 count 1/1. But I was able to do nearly 5% of the project in just over 5 hours, which means I could very easily finish this in a year or two if I wanted to. But here's just like the top like window bit, and this is going to be some of her dress down here. And I'm just picking I'm just picking symbols up in the top left here and then just traveling with them. The back looks right, and then I don't normally park until I like run out of space. So this bit is kind of covered, and so I've just been parking and I didn't grid out that far. But this is the entire height of the piece. This is going to be minuscule since it's on the 40 count. And I'm enjoying it. I think 32 count and 40 count, like 32 count's a little bit too sparse of coverage for my taste 1/1, and 40 count is a little bit too dense. So I'm going to try 36 count next, and I think that might be my sweet spot. But I enjoy all the counts I stitch on. 28 count 2/1, and the 40 count and the 32 count. I'm enjoying all of them, or I would stop stitching on them. And my next one. Okay, so this is Heaven and Earth Designs piece. This is Contessa with Squid. Oh, let me pull up what that looks like. I'm obviously not very good at this yet, so bear with me. Okay. It does not like these dark projects. It's like trying to be very glary. Let me see if this is a little bit... No, that is not remotely better. But you can see that you're on top of an ironing board, because that's how I do. An ironing board and a stack of books. But here's Contessa with Squid. She is phenomenal. One of, like, the best designs on Heaven on Earth. And this is the regular size piece, and this is where I'm at on it, which I'm really enjoying. So I've been like alternating between doing a length of black and then a color in the tentacle and then a length of black, and then I'll just switch back and forth, and it's bringing me a lot of joy. This is my biggest cross stitch project of the moment. I have some other bigger projects I want to start soon, but this is my biggest project. It is, let's see, 367,000 stitches. So I sat down and I realized that if I'm not stitching 100 stitches every day, then I am going to not finish this for over 10 years. And if I am stitching 100 stitches every day, I'm also not going to finish this for 10 years. Like, it's going to be like 10 years until I finish this. So I'm trying to do the equivalent of like 100 stitches every day. So like maybe once a week I'll sit down and do 700 stitches on it. And it's been working for me. But here it is, and I love it, and it's beautiful, and it's so fun. I love this piece so much. So far, I have done... Oh, I didn't tell you for Soul of a Rose, but I think I haven't been telling you for a lot of these. Like for Pokemon Rainbow, I don't think I told you that I did 1,190 stitches. For Soul of a Rose, I did 1,255 stitches. And then for this one, I have done this year 3,618 stitches. So I have been roughly staying on top. I'm like a couple hundred stitches that I need to catch up with, but it's phenomenal. And so far this year, I have done 10 hours and 55 minutes, which was 9.66% of my stitching time. So a lot of my stitching time has gone towards this. And then my next project, which is my second largest project, which has 3,460 stitches, is called Home in the Mountains. And it is, oh, I should have said, the artist for Contessa with Squid. This one is Omar Rayyan. Incredible artist. Love so much. So for Home in the Mountains, I don't know who the artist is, actually. It just says, like, the copyright is by Golden Kite, and they don't actually list the artist, which is odd. But this is what Home in the Mountains looks like, aka Rivendell. It is gorgeous, and you can see, you can see, obviously a professional over here. You can see the Fellowship. I love this piece so much. And I'm up here in the clouds. So it has been nothing but incredibly fun stitching. Although Golden Kite does blends, so you take one color DMC and you take another color DMC and you mix them together and you do blends, and it has been really fun doing the blends on here. So here it is. Oh, I should have said for Contessa with Squid, by the way. I am 2.55% of the way through that one. And then this one, I just hit 2% on. I'm at 2.03% of the way through. I've done 3,770 stitches on it so far. Again, I'm just parking when I kind of get to a place where I don't want to count anymore. And then I'll come back and put them in later when there's like more landmark stitching around it that like kind of, I can like count my stitches off of. And for this one so far, I have done 12 hours and 59 minutes of stitching, so I've been spending a lot of my time stitching on this, and that's 11.49% of my stitching for the month. Okay, and we just have 3 left. We're almost there. Okay, so this next one, I don't actually have like a stitching mock-up for it, but I can show you the original art. Sorry, needed a break. I'm kind of anxious, so I'm like, I feel like I'm losing my voice. Okay, so this is called Salua. This is what the art looks like. And this is a pattern that is going to be charted. It has been charted, but it's not up on her shop yet, by Kayli Tent Stitch from the sewingshop.ca. So I'll leave a link to the sewing shop below where you can find some other glorious patterns and fabric and project bags and everything. This is what it's going to look like roughly, but this is what it actually looks like when it's stitched up. Let me slide this needle minder over. Okay. And I have been doing the test stitch for this. It's all with variegated thread except for that black pretty much. And there's a little bit of stitching around their eyes that is not in variegated. But this is a really glorious pattern that I'm super close to being done with. I'm at 82.84% of the way through it. So far this year I've done 2,444 stitches on it. And I've stitched on it for 13 hours and 59 minutes, which is 12.34% of my stitching time. But I just really, really love this. And of course the fabric is dyed by Kayli Tent Stitch, which is so freaking beautiful. This fabric is glorious. I highly recommend checking out her fabric and her other patterns. And hopefully this will be up in the shop soon. We'll let you know. And then I have 2 more patterns. So this one is the Lady of Shalot. This is another one that is self-charted by me. And I don't have this exact one up in my shop, but I have one that's very similar, very comparable to it. But this is the Lady of Shalot. This is what it will look like when it's done. One of my favorite pieces of art ever. And another one that's by John William Waterhouse. You can tell that I have a favorite. And this is what she's looking like. So, utterly stunning. I didn't want to like stitch a bunch of dark threads and have like the ends behind and then like risk pulling them up in her dress. So I stitched all these light colors and then I had to fill in her face, and then I will go back to the background. But I've done a lot of stitching on this one this month. I'm trying to do 1,000 stitches a month. I'd really like to get this done this year. So far, I've been doing over 1,000 stitches a month, 1,000 stitches a week. So far this year I've done 7,114 stitches on it. I am 38.41% of the way done with it, and I can also show you a picture of what it was looking like a week ago. This is what it looked like on Saturday. She looked quite haunting. Her eyes weren't filled in. She was looking quite spooky. And then I took some time and filled her in, and now she looks so glorious. I'm so excited with how she's looking. Incredibly happy about that. Okay, and then my final project, almost lost you there, is, let's see. My last start of 2023, and that is Astrology cat. I don't have the full like mock-up of this, so I'm just going to show you like what it's roughly going to look like, although this is not accurate. It's by Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork is Cairo Machete. And it's Astrology cat. It was part of the 2024 Haid sale. You can't buy this anymore, unfortunately. Although I'll try to find the piece that this is cropped from and leave that linked below. But this is what I've done on it so far. I've been trying to spend 200 stitches on this each day, and so far this year I've spent 7,347 stitches on this, and it's coming along quite well. So this is the top of the cat's head, obviously, over here, maybe not so obviously, and then the top of the arch. And I'm not really totally loving how this is charted, to be honest. I feel like there's some odd color choices, but I've basically just been picking the top highest symbol and then working it over and working it over. I really want to finish up in this corner, and then the top two blocks of 10 will be done all the way across. But here it is going, and so far for the entire piece, I'm 14.06% of the way done, but they've only given us the first 3 pages, so out of those, so far I am 37.16% of the way done with the section we've been given, and we'll get our new section at the beginning of April. And I've spent the most time stitching on this. I don't know if I said for Lady of Shalot, I had spent 22 hours and 47 minutes on her, and that's 20% of my stitching time. And then for this one, I've spent 29.52 hours on it, which is 26.42% of my stitching time. So over a quarter of my stitching time has been on this, and then over a fifth of my stitching time has been on this. So these have been like my main 2 focuses. I want to get both of these done this year. If you finish this within the year, you get 2 free charts plus the 10 Haid charts for the Sal. I'm sure you've heard other people talk about it. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. Those are all the things that I've worked on, and it's been a lot. So far this year, I've done 29,377 stitches, and I have spent, like I said, 1,000. I've already stitched for 1,000 hours this year. I've spent 113 hours stitching, so I've been spending just about all my free time stitching. Yeah, so I'm gonna wrap this up in a second. I figured I would show just a tiny little bit of haul, although I don't have a lot of time. I need to leave for work in about 5 minutes, but I'm gonna be bad and show you a little bit of haul first. So firstly, Scarlet Quince is going out of business at the end of the year. Scarlet Quince is a phenomenal designer, and they were having a sale in January, so I bought 3 Scarlet Quince designs. Absolutely phenomenal. They also, just like with Golden Kite Designs, have like blended threads, and I really enjoy stitching with blended threads and want to do that more. So here are the 3 Scarlet Quince patterns that I bought. So this one, which is like a unicorn from the Cluny tapestry. This is a dog from the Cluny tapestries. And then this one, which is called, I think it's called Midsummer's Eve. And it's incredible. There's like a lot of like naked fairy children down there. This piece is so beautiful, although it's quite big. I mean, it's not the biggest. It's 350 by 533. Cannot wait to stitch this. Stunning. So that was a great purchase. They're not Pattern Keeper compatible, unfortunately, but they are Markup RXP compatible, so I will take it, and I'm gonna stitch them, although you have to input all the threads manually, which is unfortunate. And then other bits of haul. Something that's like a bit of a plan is that I recently printed out the Owl Forest Embroidery 100 Owls pattern. This is free on the Owl Forest Embroidery website, and I want to stitch this soon, so I'm going to be hunting down fabric and floss for it. I'm not going to buy the Owl Forest Embroidery kit, unfortunately, because it's like $25 to ship it to America, and I'm not about the life of spending $25 on shipping, unfortunately. So I'm going to be looking for floss for this, but that's something on my radar. And then I have a pile of goodies that I have bought from the Stitch New England shop. It's quite large. Mostly I bought fabric, just little like fat eighths, because they had them. So this is Atomic Ranch Dreamy Lake, which is a 40 count. I love stitching 40 count over 2 as one of my favorite ways to stitch. This is Vintage Stormy Night on a 40 count, which again, one of my favorites. And this is also one of my favorite fabrics. I love Vintage Stormy Night. This is Fox and Rabbit Black Swan, one of my favorite fabrics, and this is a 32 count. So pretty. And then I got Fox and Rabbit's Eucalyptus Linen in 40 count, which I actually already have a different piece going on. I have like 50 ongoing projects. I didn't say that. Actually, I have 48. So I'm not doing a full whip parade today. I simply do not have the time, but it is something that I will be doing in the future. I already have something else going on this, and I really enjoy it. So I bought more. Sorry for the loud crinkles. And then this is going to be for one of the ink circles. I bought Atomic Ranch Wild Mint Linen. Fucking stunning. And then I got some DMC to stitch it. And this was DMC 500. So there we go. And then I got 2 other large cuts of fabric that I need to dye. They've been sitting here for a couple weeks waiting to be dyed. One of them, let's see, is going to be for this project, which is Night Out, which is by Blackberry Designs, specifically for this long, like, bell pull. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to dye it a lime green, and it's going to be glorious. And I haven't done it yet. Every time I've looked for a lime green, which has been twice, so, well, 3 times. Not that many times now. I haven't been able to find one that I like. And then I bought this fat half of 32 count. The other one was 32 count as well. 32 count is a Weigart. And this is going to be for a pattern from Pain Free Crafts. Sabbath Dragon Yule, which unfortunately you can't get anymore. It is retired, but I don't want to stitch this on black, nor do I want to stitch like 100,000 stitches of black. So I'm going to dye like a kind of stormy looking night behind on this fabric, and I'm going to do over 1 on the 32 count. and I think it will work out quite well. So there we go. Finally, the last bit of haul is I ended up buying the Realist kit called Green Hills, which is obviously the Shire, and it's glorious. I've been wanting this for a while. I saw it from Suki the Brown-Eyed Stitcher. Finally bought it for myself. So excited to start this, and I've heard really good things about these wools. And I bought this on Poshmark, and it was like $35 with the shipping. Including shipping, it was like $27, and then with shipping, it was like $35. So I feel like I got a fucking steal on that. And yeah, that's everything. I really need to go to work now, but I hope you enjoyed my first Flosstube, and hopefully I'll be back in a week or two with more info about what I've been stitching. And if I work on any other designs that I haven't showed you yet that I've already started, I'll try to take a picture of them so I can show you like befores and afters. And I'll take pictures on all of these now so that I can also show you befores and afters. So that's it. I will see you soon. Take care and happy stitching. Bye.